You know why I love reading Penstroke stories? It's not just that he's a great writer. It's not just that he's a prolific writer. It's not that the stories are usually fun and entertaining and engaging. But it's mainly because since I already know that they're good and that they're awesome, I don't have to review them. That means less work for me when it comes to reviewing, because then I can just play an audio tape of me saying it's awesome and just go home for the rest of the night. Without further ado, Glimpses, featuring everybody's favorite little alicorn Philly with the black coat, Nyx. Enjoy. Glimpses by Pen Stroke. We tried to put in the words pen and freaking in the middle, but we couldn't. Chapter 1, Core Chapter, Displacing Constants. It's so good to be home. Twilight pushed open the doors to the private apartment of her palace, smiling as Nyx and Spike trotted in behind her. Spike was stifling a yawn, while Nyx nearly stumbled into one of the reading cushions on the floor. Their exhaustion was a little more intense than what Twilight felt, but that was only thanks to the tea she had enjoyed on the train ride back. The caffeine, however, was starting to fade, and Twilight knew it wouldn't be long before she'd be stumbling off onto her own bed. Go get cleaned up, you two, and get to sleep. You know, that makes me wonder. Would Tempest go after Nyx instead? Because they needed 4 alicorn princesses. Flurry Heart, we can assume, was with Shining Armor in the movie. So she was spending time at the Crystal Empire. Okay. So, unless Nyx was spending time in Ponyville, we got them. And if what I had read on the Gameloft game is true, apparently Trixie was spending time creating a rebellion unit with the CMC. So that means that Nyx was there. And if she got caught, they already had their tool. I mean, I guess it would be interesting if at one point Tempest hears over the radio or hears from a comm chatter that they have their fourth. And she just smiles cruelly and goes, guess you're not needed after all, Sparkle. Be a completely different movie if we saw Twilight going through and seeing this, and then suddenly goes into berserk mom mode and starts tearing apart Caroline with the rest of her small scale army, and then busts down the door, looks at Tempest and goes, "Unhand my daughter!" Think about it, won't you? Normally, such an early bedtime would rouse very vocal complaints from both Spike and Nyx. Nyx tried to resist. She shook her head and opened her mouth to protest, but all she managed to utter was a yawn. It was a slight that made Spike chuckle. He nodded his head to Twilight and gently nudged Nyx towards the hallway that led to their bedrooms. That was enough to break her resistance. Nyx and Spike wished Twilight a sleepy good night before walking out into the living room. I guess that's what they get for not taking a nap on the train. Starlight glimmered up at their room, setting down a few of her own bags in the hallway outside. Twilight nodded as she watched them go to their bedrooms. It's been a long couple of days for all of us. I never thought Flurry Heart's christening would be so eventful. All that trouble, and it wasn't even any pony in particular causing it. Just a matter of circumstance. Twilight flopped down on one of the reading cushions, stretching out her wings and letting a sigh escape her lips as he sank into the soft fabric. That or Discord, though I think he learned his lesson after that road trip he sent you 5 on. Starlight says he remained standing. Josie did move a bit closer to Twilight. Can't believe it took so long to get back to Ponyville, though. The snowstorm messed up a lot of train schedules. We're lucky we didn't have time to wait to take the train tomorrow morning, though I couldn't really complain about spending more time with my niece. Twilight smiled, squirming in her seat. I still have trouble believing it myself when I say it out loud. I have a niece. I'm an aunt, and she's so adorable. She's also an alicorn, which raises numerous concerns and questions in its own right. But at the moment, I'm going to focus on how the cute Flurry Heart is. Starlight nodded. Yeah, she's cute. Though she's going to have massive wings when she gets older. I've never seen a newborn full of wings that big. They'll only grow bigger. And also that horn. I don't know about you, but I feel bad for Princess Cadence. Twilight once. If what I heard from the doctor is true, that horn almost poked his eye out when Flurry Heart was being born. Starlight stood still for a moment. Then tilted aside before she grimaced and brought a hoof to her eye. You never think you could lose an eye delivering a baby. Just like you never think a crying baby could break a millennia-old artifact. Or that my student's first friendship lesson would be so crucial to fixing it. Twilight gestured to Starlight. To see as he smiled. Still, I'm just as glad to know your first friendship lesson went so well. When do you think you'll send your first letter to Sunburst? Starlight moved over to one of the other coasters and sat down. Probably in the next few days, if not tomorrow. I've got his address, but I realized when I was talking with him that I don't know the castle's address. Does this place even have an address? Technically, the palace's name is the address. That's how it works for Camelot Castle, though it doesn't help that this one's place's name is still in flux. Twilight used her magic to fetch the glasses of water from the kitchen. I believe the first and most common name is Friendship Castle. I've also heard the variation of Castle of Friendship a few times. Another one I heard is Ponyville Palace. I'm not particularly fond of any of them, but I imagine one will eventually stick, and that's what it'll be. Still, if you're worried about the mail getting lost, Cadence knows how to send mail and receive letters from Spike. You might need to bribe him with a cupcake once in a while, but it's one of the fastest ways to send letters across Equestria. Starlight gave a thankful nod as Twilight passed a glass of water into her own levitation spell. I don't think I want to inconvenience Cadence. She's going to have her hostful taking care of Flurry Heart, even if she has a castle filled with servants to help her. Starlight laughed to herself. And look at us. We tried to talk about mail in my friendship lesson, but I've been managing to bring it back to talking about the new baby. Twilight giggled as he waved her hoof. It's okay. I imagine most ponies in Equestria, especially the Crystal Empire, will be talking about the little baby Flurry Heart for a while, even if they have more sleepless nights to endure. I know Shining and Cadence will make good parents. They're in a lot better position than I was when I had to help raise Spike. You helped raise Spike? I didn't know that. I did physically a sip from her glass. Twilight nodded. Yeah. I haven't told you that story? I just started Celestia School when the princess showed me the little baby dragon I had during my entrance exam. Then she told me that I had to help take care of him. During the first day of school, Princess Celestia made me Spike's primary caregiver. I had to feed him and try to calm him when he was crying. A bittersweet smile formed on Twilight's face. It was murder in my schoolwork. I was overwhelmed, especially considering I was still a kid myself. I even shouted at poor Spike in my frustration, before I managed to realize why Celestia gave me the responsibility. After that, it got better. Before long, Spike was talking and sleeping through the night. He grew to be my friend and number one assistant, a younger brother. It's only recently, since our crazy trip in Rainbow Rains, I've been feeling our bond shifting back to something more maternal. He'll always be my Spike, no matter what. Tony smiled warmly as he took another sip of water. I guess that's the one reason you were so good with Nyx. As Easy might say, it isn't your first radio. Twilight swallowed and let out an uneasy chuckle. That's true. Oh, I never realized how much taking care of Spike would prepare me to take care of somebody Nyx's age. Well, biological mental age, anyway. Technically speaking, she's only a year and a half old at this point. But biologically, she's just as mature as Apple Bloom. Twilight's tone grew hollow, and her eyes wandered to an empty corner of the room. When we threw her first birthday party this past spring, we used apples at Bloom's age. It seemed appropriate. Starlight tilted her head to the side before speaking gently. Twilight, are you all right? You sound disappointed. And you were really quiet on the train as well. I watched you brush your hoof through Nyx's mane for what must have been half an hour while she was reading that book from Crystal Empire's library. And then I watched you be careful while she was trying to read that whole entire book on the Pony of Shadows. Twilight cleared her throat and tried to make eye contact, but couldn't seem to meet Starlight's scrutinizing gaze. Oh, that... You don't need to worry about that. I was just feeling a bit clean, that's all. That level of concern, however, is exactly what I expect from a good friend. Yeah, that was very good, Starlight. Maybe we should make next week's lesson about... Thanks. but I'm not letting you change the subject to another friendship lesson. I want to hear why you're being clingy. Twilight chuckled softly at how Starlight had managed to see through her attempt to shift the conversation. I guess, I don't know. Flurry is such an adorable baby. As she grows up, Cadence and Shiny are going to be there for her every moment. They'll have Flurry's first word be Mama or Dada. They'll get to see her go to her first day of kindergarten. They'll get help for her to learn her ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. They'll even get to clean her stinky diapers and stay up all night, rocking her to sleep when she's fussy. Cadence and Shiny will get to help Flurry Heart every step of the way she grows up. But with Nyx and Spike, I miss some of that. Twilight's smile faded. I mean, I wouldn't want to change what the three of us have. We are a family, but on days like today, I can't help but feel like I missed out on something. Twilight used her magic to form some basic geometric shapes in the air, which she assembled to depict the Spike and Nyx. Spike to be grew mostly self-reliant, faster than any foal. Nyx, she never was a foal. She just completely skipped that part of her life. The geometric shapes gave happy little waves in Twilight's direction. Before fading away, she ended her spell. I feel maybe I'm a little jealous that I missed out on that. I don't know. If I was going to have a filly call my own, I wouldn't mind skipping a bunch of stinky diapers. Starlight said lightheartedly, before her voice shifted to an understanding tone. But I could see where you're coming from. I think I'd be happy if I could just know, if that makes sense. Maybe it's my inquisitive nature betraying me, but being able to at least see what Nyx would have been like would have been nice. Twilight lifted a hoof to her mouth, to cover a yawn before she arched her back and stretched her waist. Anyway, I didn't mean to keep you. It's not just Nyx and Spike who could use a good night's sleep after everything that's happened. Do you need help finding your way back to your room? Starlight shook her head. I know the way from here. This place and my bedroom are about the only 2 rooms I really know how to find in this castle of yours. She finished off her drink, and with a few quick gulps, set the empty glass down next to Twilight's. She began to head out of the room, pausing before she touched the hallway. Starlight, is something wrong? Nope. Starlight turned around, wearing a big smile and shaking her head. Just got lost in thought. Have a good night, Twilight. Sleep well, Starlight. So, does anyone know what Starlight wanted to see us about? Rainbow asked as she led the group of friends to Twilight's castle. They all received invitations that morning to some kind of unveiling. The nature of the thing being unveiled was a mystery. At least to the 5 mares now climbing the steps of the castle's central trunk. Piggy bounced to the top of the stairs, then turned around to smile and wait for the others who were moving at a more casual pace. I know, that sounds like good news. It's for everybody. It's good news, everybody. You think it's a party for it celebrating the Crystal Empire? Maybe it's something to celebrate her first friendship lesson, Applejack said, as the Indians caught up with Pinky, began to move through the castle hallways. That's all equally possible, I say, but I imagine we shan't have to wait too long to find out. Rarity gestured to the throne room door, where Twilight was waiting outside with Spike. The duo agreed, content with Laves. I presume you call an invitation to Starlight's mysterious event as well? Twilight nodded to Rarity. I found it slipped under my bedroom door this morning. Did any of you know what's going on? Unfortunately, we're just as mystified as you are. Rarity went up to the throne room, placed a hoof on it. Have you tried going inside? Spike tried to take a peek about an hour ago, but Starlight shooed him out. Twilight opened her mouth to say more, but was cut off by the sound of latches on the throne room doors clicking. As the doors opened from the inside, Starlight's smiling face came into view. Thank you all for waiting. I had to put on the final touches. Starlight stepped back, letting everyone step into the throne room. All eyes searched around, seeking what had been changed as they naturally drifted towards their individual thrones. Final touches on what? I don't see anything, Spike said. He didn't sit in his seat, but instead stood on it like a stool so he could see over the map on the table more easily. A new spell. Starlight's horn lit up as he levitated a clipboard-sized chalkboard. Its frame was composed of crystal, bearing a striking resemblance to the edge of a nearby table. I wanted to say thanks for everything you've done, for the second chance you've all given me. I've been trying to think of a good way to express my gratitude for a while. Last night, Twilight giving me an idea. Starlight set the small checkboard down on the table. The crystal map gently quivered into life, though instead of showing a map of Equestria, and displayed a sea of swirling pastel colors. What you're looking at is the map table's natural aura of temporal magic. Without this unique property, my time travel spell wouldn't have been able to function. Starlight took a piece of chalk that had been cut to the clipboard and began to write. I don't know where the magic comes from, but I have a feeling I know its purpose. The map table sees the past, present, and maybe even a bit into the future. Then it uses that knowledge to give you friendship missions, sending you where you're most needed and you can do the most good. For example, have any of you wondered why or how the combination of points sent to solve problems are always ideal for the situation? Well, I'll admit, I never pondered it myself, Verity said, her words drawing nods from most of the others. I've always trusted the mop, just like we would trust the elements of harmony or each other. First, I gently brushed her hoof across the table, as if petting a friendly animal. We haven't really been given a reason not to trust it, and it helps us help a lot of creatures. I can personally attest to that, Starlight said. Now, while I was working with this table the last few days on my gift, I discovered a few things. One, having so much natural temporal magic makes the table something of an anchor, even in the event reality is altered. Even in an instance where the president was vastly different from the world we knew, the table still existed. That's why Twilight was able to travel back in time again and again to keep trying to stop me. 2. You may not be able to be sent to fix any friendship problems for a while. Starlight used to hope to point at the table. The sterling colors you see are indicative of the problem. The first time I cast my time travel spell, the magic at the table was very constant. The aura from the table is a simple blue. Now, as you can all tell by the swirling colors we all see, its magic's far more erratic. Twilight and I will have to take some time to figure out how to, for lack of a better phrasing, put the map table back into focus before it can work normally again. Starlight paused from her writing to give the chalkboard a quick, dramatic spin, while smiling at the group. But at least for today, its current erratic state is to our advantage. How can having a broken map be to our advantage? Rainbow asked. Starlight finished writing on the chalkboard and set down a piece of chalk. We can briefly adjust the table's focus. With a simple request, the table can use its magic to show us possible variations for Equestria. For example, Starlight's horn glowed, casting a spell on the chalkboard that caused the gems around its frame to glow. The swirling colors on the map table shifted, starting to stabilize until it showed a picture. It showed a familiar mare flying through a muddy red sky. The mare had a colorful rainbow mane, but the differences were as visible as similarities. She bore a scar over her right eye. There was a chunk missing from her ear. Left wing was not flesh and bone, but of steel and magic. Whoa! Rainbow said, leaning forward in her seat, putting her host on the table. Is that? That is another you of another time, another place, another variation of our world where things are similar but different. Starlight says the others craned their necks or leaned in, trying to catch a glimpse of the other rainbow dash that was being displayed by the neat head table. They, however, didn't get to look for long. Starlight erased the chalkboard, causing the image on the table to dissipate into swirling colors. She wrote something else. Here's another one I came across, one that isn't as drastically different. I need a hamburger in my belly right now. Rainbow Dash's muffled voice came from a table as the colors refocused, showing the 6 friends gathering around the fountain in Ponyville Town Square. The events progressed quickly, Twilight finding a scroll in the statue's mouth, then getting giddy about a scavenger hunt. The whole time, the alternate Pinky was acting strange, even for her. She was impatient, even stopping in Twilight about her love of books. I don't ever recall the scavenger hunt, at least not with everyone here. Twilight glanced up from the map table with the Starlight. But this seems like regular normal Ponyville. It's not some dystopian world where a villain took over. Is this something that happens in our future? Not future. This is another possible present, Starlight said. It's the first thing I managed to get into focus when I was working on the spell last night. It's a variation of reality where Flurry Heart isn't born yet. This scavenger hunt we're watching is a game Shining Armor put together to tell you about Candace's pregnancy. In this other timeline, I'm still trying to formulate my time travel spell. Some events happened, some didn't. Others are happening in a different order. You found out about the news about the baby during last year's Heartwarming because Candace got pregnant sooner. Thus, the scavenger hunt never needed to happen in our present. But what's different? Twilight asked as he went back to watching the map table. Their view of the alternate reality now showed her and her friends going to the Ponyville schoolhouse. It's part of the reason why I'm glad Nyx had friends with her friends today. As far as I could tell, this is a world without Nyx. Starlight let her words hang in the air. Many eyes in the room moved to Twilight, who was still staring at the table. The only noise came from the ponies on the other side of the polished surface, continuing their search for clues around Ponyville. Starlight eventually broke the silence, clearing her throat before continuing. It's hard to say what would have had to make the change to make this world happen. Maybe the pieces left behind after Linda's purification either weren't gathered, or destroyed, or never delivered to Spell Nexus, or perhaps didn't have the same potential. Maybe Spell Nexus never became blessed and never formed his cult. Whatever the case, no one tried to resurrect Nightmare Moon. Thus Nyx was never born. Applejack sat back, and her throne scratched her head. But how incarnation could that have affected when Cadence got pregnant? One don't sort of seem to relate to the other. 7 mares and dragon raced around each other, pondering the same question, before Rarity sat up a bit taller in her chair. Perhaps Twilight raising Nyx's daughter inspired Cadence and Shining to start having a baby earlier. Or perhaps it has something to do with Shining being installed as a soldier for the Children's Nightmare. But what about the other things that are different? Like, why would Nyx not accepting help you figure out your time turtle spell faster? Rainbow asked. Starlight was silent for a moment, pondering a question before her eyes lit up. A book. During Nyx's rule over Equestria, the Children of Nightmare started moving books from Camelot to Nightstone Castle. Of course, all of that had to be undone when things were put back to normal. There was one particular book I needed to find in Camelot Library to get my spell to work. I found that book right where the catalog said it would be. Maybe in a timeline where Nyx never existed, that book got misplaced, and I lost weeks trying to find the information I need. Twilight used her magic to produce an image of a river in the air. Sakura, or rather, the Sakura in the world where the Teensleys took over, described this concept really well to me. Next to the river, Twilight manifested an image of Sakura as he'd been in that timeline, a wise tribal leader with an impressive princess-quality mohawk. Time is a river where even the tiniest changes can lead to a cascade of effects downstream. To phrase it more simply, a small change can have big consequences. On the other hand, I can imagine a change can just as easily yield numerous additional small consequences. Different paths on the river at time. That's what the table can now let us see. Let us ask, what if? Starlight erased the chalkboard again, letting the table lose focus and return to a pool of swirling colors. I realized this could be a very dangerous spell. Being able to see what-if scenarios could drive ponies mad, or even provide some with dangerous information. Still, this spell will likely stop working once we fix the mad table's focus permanently. In the meantime, I turned the chalkboard over to Twilight so she could decide what to be done with it. What do we do with it? Rainbow leaped from her seat, hovering above the table and gesturing towards it with her hooves. Are you kidding? We should see some more awesome versions of me! And more super silly party versions of me! I can't say seeing parallel realities wouldn't be fascinating, Rainbow, but we do have to consider the side effects of such a spell. Twilight used her magic to gently push Rainbow towards her throne. After all, I doubt Starlight could have predicted our time travel spell would knock the table out of focus in the first place. But Twilight, darling, surely a little peek into other possibilities couldn't hurt, Rarity said. I personally would love to see how fast it's changed as we gaze through other worlds. It might very well be a wonderful source of information. Applejack smirked. I can't say I ain't curious, but I'll trust Twilight and Starlight on this one. They're the ones who went time jumping, not us. If something goes wrong, we can always just stop, can't we? Marseille asked. It's not like we're hurting any pony, right? All right, Twilight said, smirking as he glanced over her friends and eventually focused on Starlight. Looks like the vote is basically unanimous, Starlight. Starlight returned Twilight's smile. I promise, we can stop the moment we see any negative side effects. But for now, I hope the spell properly demonstrate how much I appreciate what you did for me. You helped me not only see but live in a future where I have friends again. This spell seems like an appropriate way to express my gratitude. Starlight picked up a piece of chalk, giving it a small twirl as he smiled at everyone. So, what do you want to see first? Oh, I know! What if Applejack was a giant? Like, 3 times as tall as an apple tree? Or what if the princesses had a super big pillow fight? Or what if both of those things happened at the same time? Pinkie Pie asked, bouncing out of her seat. Or what if I found a talking plate from outer space? Or what if me, Rarity, and Applejack had to go on a super epic adventure beyond Equestria to save Twilight when a spell backfired and her horn started to rot? Pinkie, I've been trying my best not to just go ahead and read. It's a dangerous business right now. But, right now it's getting so tempting. And you're not helping!
Or let's say secretly TNT. Or what if you buy me a death took a holiday? Or what first I was the actual Equestria White Champion being great? Or
one at a time, Pinkie Pie, Rarity said.
now this is what we found us saying, but I think we should take turns. That about spruce and tea, get some night snacks. I imagine we may be enjoying Starlight's gift for a while.
Nick struggled to contain her laughter as he watched her friends' expressions. At the Key Crusader Clubhouse, the 5 core members, her, Applebloom, Scoogaloo, Sweetbell, and Twist, gathered for a matter of utmost importance. A assembly that could not wait another day. The selection of a single photo for a rare honor of the few dozen that was spread on the clubhouse floor. Nix was having her friends choose which picture of her new cousin Flurry or go into her treasure book back at the library.
I think this one's best,
Sweetbell said, holding up the picture that had been her personal favorite for a while.
Look at her! The teeny yawn of hers is so cute! And Princess Cadence is holding her in this photo too.
Applebloom picked up 3 photos she was holding in her hose. Can't say that one was cute, but it doesn't really capture all the crazy stuff that happened. This is a cute picture. Twist held another photo she had so far been overlooked by everyone.
Both photos are good, but this one of Princess Flurry Heart and with her mom is way cuter.
It was a shining at Cadence, hugging Flurry Heart together. Full appeared to be squirming and giggling for the attention.
Oh my gosh, how did I miss that one?
Sweetbell dropped the picture she had been favoring. It took the one Twist to discover. Scoogaloo rolled her eyes.
Applebloom just said probably shouldn't be a cute photo. I like this one the best. It has a picture of everyone after the crystal next to the crystal heart. You can even see Starlight glimmer in that. Not a wizard, but still smart stallion. What was his name again? Sunburst, Nick answered. And I'm not putting more than one of these in my treasure book. I can't put them all in. And the all the amazing stuff we've done together. My book is getting full.
Applebloom chuckled.
Well,
honestly, these little effects just get a bigger one.
Or get a second whole book,
Twist suggested.
You can take my school textbook and cut out the bases if you want.
Scoogaloo passed her favorite picture over to Sweetbell, for looking down at the pile. After a few moments, a frown formed on her face.
Hey, why aren't there any pictures of that good stuff? You said the princesses were fighting the storm, and the crystal heart was shattered. Why didn't you take any pictures of that? I was a Spike most of the time. We didn't know the crystal heart was broken until we got back and saw everyone at the library, trying to find a book to fix it.
Nix reached the flap of her saddlebag and used her hoof to tug it close so she could look inside. Her magic noticed a few things around before she found another, smaller stack of pictures.
I did try to take photos of those things, but we were in such a rush that it came out kind of bad. I don't care about blurry. I just want to see the awesome,
Scoogaloo said as he quickly snatched the photos as they levitated closer to her. She smiled on the picture at the top of the pile. It was still the princesses shooting blasts of magic into the looming storm clouds. The image was a little blurry, off-kilter, and the princesses themselves were very small. The photo had been taken at a distance without any sort of zoom.
See, even if this isn't the best picture, it should still be considered because of how awesome it is.
Scoogaloo passed the book, with a few opposed to Sweetbell. Look at the next. Her smile quickly fell to a frown.
Oh, come on! She's flying already!
Nix got up from her place in the photo circle, took a few steps to one side so she could look over Scoogaloo's shoulder. The Scoogaloo irritating picture was a Flurry heart flying around, dragging Pinkie along as the mare tried to keep Flurry on the ground.
See, what the hell is that?
Nick studied the photo, trying to suppress a giggle at the expense of her flightless friend.
You know, foals do sometimes have bursts of magic in flight. Twilight tells me it's an old defense mechanism for when we ponies were wild, roaming herd animals. Something like little foals protect themselves from predators. That doesn't make it fair.
Scoogaloo passed the photo and continued to look through the stack.
Still, she'll never be a fast flyer with those monstrosity big wings of hers.
Applebloom sat at the end of the sharing circle, where she received photos from Twist. She took a close look at the one with the princesses fighting the storm.
No, about late. Princesses have very big flings, and they can still fly pretty fast. Maybe not as fast as Rainbow Dash, but they're not slow either. It'll be interesting to see them race. You know, Rainbow Dash would be up for it,
Nick said, before starting to grin.
On that aside, we're getting close to the end of the pile. So, I had to wonder, did you girls bring the things I asked for? I mean, I appreciate all the help, but we did have an agreement. You got to see full photos of my new cousin. Now I get to see pictures of a similar nature. Y'all don't have to read and pray around the bush. I brought mine.
Evelyn got up from her place in the circle, moving her saddlebags near to the front of the clubhouse. It took a few moments, but she fished out what looked like to be an old photo album. She placed the album on her back before turning to the circle.
I got mine too.
Sleep Out, Twist, and Unison. When they returned from their saddlebags, they were carrying single pictures instead of a whole album. Skulu was the last. Nix watched her for a time as her friend remained focused, flipping through the blurry pictures he had taken. But Skulu didn't respond to the events going around her. Nix cleared her hoof and tapped her hoof a few times. This drew Skulu's attention, though it was hard to tell if she was simply absorbed in the photos, deliberately ignoring a question.
Yeah, I got it.
Skulu sat down to the next to pictures, went to her bags, and returned with a single photo. Nix received her friend's part of the agreement. Couldn't help but smile as he looked over the photos. The deal had been simple. She was going to see baby pictures of her cousin, maybe letting them keep something they really wanted. All Nix wanted in return was to see their baby pictures too.
You're all so adorable, Nix guessed. No, Skulu, what does she mean?
Skulu's cheeks flushed slightly.
Some babies are born bald, okay? It happens. My super sweet purple mane started growing in after about a week.
Sleepbell raised her hoof as she returned to Shirley's class.
Oh, I want to see ball Sleepoo. Skulu, me too, Twist chimed in. Yeah, keep it up. I don't have to give you a ride home.
Skulu's weak attempt at a threat did manage to have an effect. Until she finished letting them look over, Nix let her friend see the collection of baby photos. Sweetbell's photo was of her making a mess while trying to eat some most carrots. Twist was of her infant self sleeping with a candy cane colored teddy bear. Apple Bloom was pictured in a pile of red ribbons. She had taken one and was trying to chew one as the hoof off camera was trying to stop her. Oh, look at Pear Butter's hoof trying to stop her.
Why do you have so many bows, even when you wear faux?
Twist asked as he got her turn to look at Apple Bloom's photo from her family album.
Well, these ribbons weren't always mine. My mom used to wear them in her mind,
Apple Bloom said. The smile on her face weakened.
It's something my family does, I guess. We like to wear some of the things our parents did. Mom wore those ribbons, and Dad wore a cow pony hat and yoke.
Close! Bright Mac does wear a hat. We were close. You were close on that one, Ben. You were really close.
So, you're wearing your old stuff? Skulu asked. We don't really wear the originals,
Apple Bloom continued, as one of her hosts reached back to fluff her ribbon.
We keep those in the attic in the trunk so they stay safe. But Big Mac wears the same brand of yoke Dad did. Applejack's hair is just like Dad's too. My ribbons are the same color as Dad's mom used to wear. They're so similar but not the originals. This explains why you always wore such a big ribbon in your hair. Why Applejack doesn't get mad when her hair's trash, Sweetbell said. Still, that's really sweet, Apple Bloom. I guess.
Eyebrows arched around the staring circle as the other four fillies looked at Apple Bloom.
You guess?
Nix asked.
I like my ribbon, and I understand what it's supposed to mean, but I don't really remember them.
Apple Bloom paused, the last of her smile fading into a frown, as her eyes wandered over the photos spread across the floor of the clubhouse. Nix noticed a cluster of pictures that drew her friend's attention, close to her Flurry heart with one, if not both her parents.
I was pretty young when I don't know what they look like. Granny Smith has plenty of pictures of them. Some of them were even in this scrapbook, but I don't remember what their voices sounded like, or who they really were as ponies. I don't know if they liked to sing songs, or if they would have read bedtime stories to me. They're just two ponies in a bunch of pictures. And one of them happens to wear red ribbons like I do. Oh, Apple Bloom, I'm...
Sleepbell's attempt at comforting words were caught up by a knocking on the clubhouse door. Normally, whoever came knocking would just open the door, but this time the door stayed shut. The girls glanced at one another, then back at the door. Had it been just a bird or a wind? The answer came when the door swung open to reveal Applejack.
Hello there, sugar kids. Sorry to ruin your fun, but I have some chores that I could use Apple Bloom's help with.
A collective awe escaped the lips of the group.
Now, Don't go fussing. You five have been playing together since before lunch. I think that's more than enough for one day, Applejack said. Her voice lacked the usual painful firmness it had once he came to say it was time to go home. Though there were a few more complaints, the girls obliged. Nix returned the baby photos to her friends, to their respective owners, before quickly gathering up all the pictures he had taken. Soon the whole group had delivered to Clubhouse. So Applebloom's friends were putting on their helmets and hopped into the wagon, which Scootaloo pulled behind with her scooter.
See you later, girls,
Applebloom said, with a wave as she and Applejack stood at the foot of the Clubhouse's ramp.
Yeah, see you later,
Sleepbell echoed as the rest of them waved. Nix heard the buzz of Scootaloo's wings and felt the lurch of the wagon as they began the relatively short trip back to Ponyville. She looked back at Applejack and Applebloom. They were pulling away. The eldest sister of the Apple family was standing very close to Applebloom, keeping an hoof on her shoulders.
Are you sure you don't want to dismantle it?
I won't mind,
Especially since there still might be some unforeseen consequences of this kind of spell even existing.
Twilight shook her head as he carried the gem-studded chalkboard that was the cornerstone of Starlight's new spell. They were descending the spiral staircase of the central library, eventually departing the stairs for one of the landings.
We can argue the philosophical dangers of your spell later, but for the time being, I think the best course of action is just to lock it up for safekeeping.
That, and you did such a wonderful job casting and anchoring the spell. I hate to destroy all your hard work.
But how can we lock it up?
Starlight asked, as they walked between the stacks of books.
Your palace doesn't have a dungeon or vault, right?
No, but it does have these. Twilight came to a stop and turned her gaze to an empty glass case in one of the main alcoves of the library. Within this many smaller cases, artifacts of Twilight's adventures and friends' adventures were preserved for future generations. Nix's helmet, Fluttershy's Married-Whale costume, and the Friendship Diary were just a few items on display. Starlight leaned in, scrutinizing the display, before looking back at Twilight.
You have a glass case in the library that's open to public during the day.
Wow, you really are trusting.
Not that trusting.
Twilight opened the case, fluffed the pillow inside, and gently set the sockboard down on the soft fabric. Then she closed the case and tapped it with her horn. There was a small glimmer along the seams. The palace is quite strong from the outside. It's not going to get blown up like the Golden Nugs Library. However, after you managed to sneak in and reach the map table, I realized a few things. One, I really need to talk to Princess Celestia about getting a few guards of my own. Two, there may be other ponies in the future that'll try to sneak into my home and do nefarious things. Three, I should apply my magical prowess to protect my home. Starlight nodded her head as he lifted a hoof and pressed it against the case. I understand now. You cast defensive spells on these cases.
Not just the cases. I also cast spells on most of the doors. It's a suite of charms developed by most of the greatest locksmiths in Equestria's history. Locked secret. In fact, one of the spells I used, Fouling Felonious Friends Profoundly, is the same spell Princess Celestia used to protect the elements of harmony from Discord when we were first trying to reform him. Really, I'm quite proud of this setup.
I couldn't tell, Starlight said with a roll of her eyes. Twilight smiled at Starlight as the pair turned and began walking back towards the central staircase. Trust me, no sneak thief or villain is going to be able to get in here and steal anything easily. All the cases in the library have a level 1 security. That means only ponies that can open them are myself, my family, my fellow princesses, and my friends. I also got plans for stricter security levels, but there's nothing that dangerous in here yet, so it's still on my to-do list. Still, I can instill you my advanced defensive matrix. It's a central control mechanism for defensive spells in the castle. No, it's okay, I believe you. Twilight licked her lips, wings twitched, like she'd been about to take off when she suddenly told she couldn't fly. It was enough to draw Starlight's attention and make her chuckle under her breath. Though, if you want to show it to me anyway, I wouldn't say no, Starlight said. Twilight smiled and bounced back. She jogged up past Starlight, climbing up the stairs at an impressive pace. Come on then! The central spell matrix is up in my bedroom. Oh, this will be so much fun! The only pony I can really talk about magic in Ponyville with Rarity. And couples see it like this area's will stuff a team. Oh, I should bring some tea too. Well, variety is best when two magically minded mares will be discussing a complex and defensive spell matrix. Good night. Sweet dreams. Those words had been uttered just an hour earlier. Night had fallen, dinner had been eaten, and all those residing in Friendship Castle snuggled into their beds. They were all supposed to be asleep, preparing for a new day.
One filly was assisting the alchemy embrace of dreams. Nyx hid under her covers, a small pot of light glowing at the tip of her horn. She had pulled her treasure book with her, and was filling with some of the items within. She just needed to figure out the best way to add photos of Flurry and her friends, and help picked out to her treasure trove without them getting damaged. Nyx rubbed her eyes as she removed everything from the book to try reorganizing it again. The girls had been right. She really needed to get a better treasure book, a second treasure book, or start using something other than a held-out book to keep her mementos. Picking up a few things with her levitation magic, Nyx began to fill out the book again, but stopped for a moment. She glanced up, even though all she could see was the underside of her blanket, and remained perfectly still. A few moments passed, her ears listening. When Nyx said nothing, she shrugged and focused back on her book. She managed to put a few more things into the book before having to start again. This time she was sure of it. She heard a noise. Nyx quickly stuffed all her treasures back into the book. The cover wasn't closed all the way, and her kazoo stuck out haphazardly. Well, it was good enough for the moment. She slipped that book out from under the covers and set it on her nightstand. Then cut the light spell from her horn and poked her head from under the covers. She tried to fake sleep while keeping her eyes cracked open to watch her door. Sometimes, when she stayed up past bedtime, Twilight would catch her. Nyx's first instinct was to think the noises were coming from Twilight moving in the hallway. She'd been caught staying up past bedtime more than a few times because Twilight decided to poke her head into the room. Yet, even as these noises continued, the bedroom door never opened. Maybe Twilight was just staying up late to read a book. She'd do that sometimes, but she usually didn't move around so much. The hard floors and walls of the castle tended to let any noise echo clearly to neighboring rooms. Nyx was very certain the noises she was hearing were hoof steps. Trying to ignore it, Nyx closed her eyes, nearly vowing to finish figuring out what to do with her treasure book in the morning. She snuggled in her pillow, pulled up her blanket, tried to calm her breathing, yet the sounds lingered. Step, step, shuffle, step, step, shuffle, shuffle. Was Twilight looking for something in the living room? It sure sounded like some pony was looking for something. Maybe it was Spike. Maybe he left a jewel or something somewhere. He did like having a small gemstone of some variety before bed. Maybe it was Starlight. Nyx didn't know why Starlight would be in their private part of the castle so late at night, but that was another possibility. Maybe it was some pony she didn't know. Nyx sat up in bed. The quiet noise was still teasing at her ears. She tugged her blanket closer to her chest. The thought of an intruder was unnerving, especially considering the over-the-top rivals and enemies her mother tended to attract. Worse, if she was asleep, Nyx doubted the noises she would be hearing would be enough to wake her. The intruder was being stealthy enough to be undetected by sleeping ponies, doing an uneven deeds and... Stop it! Nyx whispered to herself as she pushed back the covers and climbed out of bed. It's probably just Twilight. Just go look and see for yourself it's nothing bad. She walked out of her bedroom door and nudged it open, peeking out in the hallway. She expected to see either the light from Twilight's horn or the glow from a candle spilling into the living room. But the light was unfamiliar, flickered inconsistently with a weak, yellowish glow. It took Nyx a moment to recognize it, but it looked like the light from a firefly lantern. No one in the castle would use a firefly lantern. Nyx retreated back into her room, pulling the door closed to leave only a narrow latch to see through. She could still see the light, and watched it for what felt like an eternity. Should she go get Twilight? She was certain the pony in the living room wasn't Twilight, or Spike, or someone else she knew. She bit her lip. Even if that was having strange dreams, Nyx knew she couldn't go back to sleep. She had to do something, but what? It really was a stranger. She had to go get Twilight or Spike. She got Spike first. He might try to confront the intruder. He could scare some ponies off of his fire, but he could also get hurt himself. So it was better to get Twilight. But to do that, Nyx would have to get to Twilight's bedroom, unless she dared flying outside the castle to reach the correct window. There was only one path to Twilight's room, so you had to climb the stairs in the living room. There were some benefits to the plan. If she saw she was somebody she knew, then she would go back to bed. If not, she had to climb the stairs and get to Twilight. But there were obvious dangers. But Nyx chose not to focus on those, as she took a deep breath to brace herself. Opening the door again, Nyx silently stepped out of her bedroom and into the hallway. She went one hoof at a time, moving as she was walking on eggshells. She put the tip of her hoof down first, then gently eased the rest of her leg down. Each step brought her closer into the living room. as he began to cast glimpses of the pony's silhouette against the dim light cast by the lantern. Nyx, despite her ability to see very well in the dark, couldn't get a good look until she reached the end of the hallway, dared to peek around the corner. The pony was clad in black from head to hoof. Nyx could tell it was a mare, but the intruder's mane and tail were tucked into their clothes. She even wore a pair of goggles to obscure her eyes. The pony was checking the shelves, gingerly removing books and cracking them open, then putting them back. It's like as he was checking to see something was hidden in the back of the shelves. The intruder was also searching the drawers with the same methodology. Open, search, then close. It was strange to see a neat burglar, but the pony's intent appeared clear. She was looking for something, and she was a stranger intruding a place where she didn't belong. Nyx tried to ignore her heart pounding in her chest, and shaking in her hose as she glanced towards the staircase. The steps ran the perimeter of the room and led to Twilight's bedroom door, just above the bookcases. She had her full powers. Nyx could have turned to smoke and stuck up the steps. Again, if she had her full powers, she wouldn't be scared. Since he was distinctly lacking in that level of Alcorn magic, she had to sneak past his pony. Nyx waited, clinging to the shadows with her back to the corner of a nearby wall. She only moved when she was sure the mare wasn't going to turn around. When the intruder had her hoof at the door, in that moment, Nyx pressed herself to the floor and crawled into the base of the living room stairs. There was almost no sound to her movement, but any little noise Nyx made wince. In the silence, she could hear her belly sliding against the floor. Each time she put her hoof down to press herself further, she was certain the burglar would turn around. It felt like it took forever to reach the base of the steps. Once Nyx got there, she glanced to see the burglar was still looking around the same drawer. Nyx allowed herself a quiet, haggard breath, and even smiled a little. So far, so good. But looking to the stairs, Nyx felt like she still had to climb a mountain. Nyx glanced over her shoulder once more before placing her hoof on that first step. A clink! Then a loud, sharp noise reached Nyx's ears. The rubber band of tension inside her body snapped. She flew up the stairs, flapping her wings and using her legs to push herself off with enough force to carry her forward. It was perhaps the longest flight she had ever accomplished as a child, but she paid no attention to her achievement. All Nyx could think about was the noise she had just made. The burglar was going to turn around and spot her, and then, well, the mare would do something. Nyx didn't know what, but the mare would take some kind of action to prevent herself from being caught in the act. She stayed by the door to Twilight's room, just waiting for the intruder to shout. When that didn't happen, Nyx glanced over her shoulder. She was sure she saw someone stomping up the stairs. She held her breath, waiting for the inevitable. Nothing happened. A single heavy breath slipped out of Nyx's mouth before she got a hold of herself again. She glanced around, first noticing that the shadows from the stairs banister were already moving. She followed the lines of shadows to the source of the light. The burglar's firefly lantern was on its side, rolling gently across the smooth floor. The intruder had knocked over her lantern. That had been the clinking sound that sent Nyx flying up into the stairs like a bat out of Tartarus. They were only just now climbing up to her toppled lantern, catching up a huff and setting it upright again. She began to look around, except to quietly retreat to the far side of the stairs, using the shadows cast by the banisters to try and hide. For what seemed like an eternity, the burglar watched the room around her, turning her head, trying to listen for any sound. When she finally seemed satisfied she hadn't been detected, she went back to her search. Yet Nyx remained, frozen in place and waiting. She was so close to Twilight's room, she was almost certain she could hear Twilight snoozing through the door seam. Forcing down a swallow, she dared to stand up. Her horn glowed as she turned the door handle. The palace home was brand new. New squeaky hinges. Just a small click, and Nyx had opened the door. The burglar didn't appear to notice. Nyx slid into Twilight's room, shut the door, and proceeded to pounce on Twilight's bed.
Are we sure Nyx wasn't just sleepwalking?
Twilight stood in front of Spike, Nyx, and Starlight in the living room of the family's part of the private castle. It was late. The moon was high, and Twilight couldn't deny that they all looked horrible for being so unexpectedly rousing from their beds. Still, the situation could not be ignored.
Yes, I'm sure,
Twilight said to Spike.
I know it may look like everything is in place, but I know my personal library, and I know when something's wrong. Let's look over here.
Twilight pointed directly below the stairs at one of the bookshelves built into the living room's walls.
What do you see?
Spike said with a yawn. Books.
Yes,
Twilight said with a nod. Almost all of them are in the exact same order they're supposed to be in.
But look at the encyclopedias of enhancing enchantments.
Twilight levitated the 6 books off the shelf. Each one identical except for the number and the size. It was an older style number system, a combination of V's and I's attributed to ancient unicorn civilizations, like the lost city of Trot. What's wrong with these books? Starlight, Nix, and Spike all stared at the encyclopedias, tilting their heads at different angles. This went on for a few moments before Twilight groaned, pointing at the levitated books with a hoof. Look at the numbering. The books are stacked in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, and 4. I don't see it.
They're out of order!
Twilight tapped her spines in the books.
VI is 6. IV is 4. That means these books on the shelf are in order of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, and 4. That's wrong. And I know they're not mixed the last time I did a cataloging. Alright, so we have some evidence some point might have been in here.
Starlight says she wants Twilight, but the encyclopedias on the shelf in the correct order.
So we called the police or the Camelot Royal Guard. We could send a letter to Princess Celestia, but it may be hours before she could send someone to help. Princess Celestia is asleep, and Luna is likely visiting their ponies in their dreams right now. My letter might not even get a read until morning. We cannot wait that long.
Twilight frowned as she looked at the others.
I engaged the lockdown using my defensive spell matrix as soon as Nick woke me up. The sound of magic activating may have been scared or unexpected guests at this part of the castle. Still, the intruder is locked in. We're going to find out where she is hiding. But why can't we just wait till morning? Why do we have to go out there looking for her?
Nix glanced at the door, then led to the rest of the castle, taking a step away from it and closer to Spike.
She's locking the castle, and we're safe in here. Can't we wait until Princess Celestia sends help?
We could, but that mare came here for a reason. She's looking for something. I'd rather catch her before she's able to find it. Nix gestured to Nix to come closer. She tried it over, and Twilight pulled her into her embrace.
I know it was scary, but you were very brave for coming to wake me up.
Still, we can't let that pony do whatever she wants in our home. Twilight took a moment to glance up at Starlight, putting on a smile.
I don't think we want to take our chances, leaving some pony unsupervised in this castle.
Starlight nodded her head and smiled back at Twilight. I'm going to agree. Let's avoid having to jump through time tonight. Spike rubbed his eye, now hiding his exhausted as he tried to stay focused.
So what do we do? Just start wandering the halls, hoping to find this pony?
Twilight shook her head. She gave Nix another little squeeze, and then let go of the hug and moved to the small hearth of the living room. Above the mantel was a portrait of their family, which had been painted by Discord as a castle-warming present. There were times Twilight was sure she saw the eyes of the painting following her, or was making faces behind her back. Still, most of the time it was a simply nice portrait. Considering Discord, that was good enough. Twilight levitated the picture down and set it against the nearby wall. She had focused her magic on the bare crystalline wall that behind the canvas. In the blank space, etchings became to life before projecting an image onto the center of the living room. It was a projection of the castle, one which was now glowing a threatening red color.
I can use my defensive spells to control the doors of the castle from here, Twilight said. I'll guide you through a systematic search. Once we clear the room and ensure the intruder isn't inside, I'll seal it off and lead you to the next room. We'll use Spike's dragonfire to stay in contact.
Twilight glanced away from the map to focus on Spike.
I promise. We'll keep this small and infrequent so you don't get a stomachache.
Spike shook his head and slapped his cheeks, and looked back at Twilight and nodded.
Okay, let's teach this pony what happens when you wake up a dragon.
Nix took in a deep, big breath, fired her wings and nodded.
Yeah, I'll do my best to help.
Twilight smiled and nodded to the two, before levitating a scroll and a squill and an inkwell. She began to quickly write out a letter to Princess Celestia.
Above all, be safe. We don't know who this pony is or what they want, or what they are capable of. I'd rather have something valuable stolen than hear any of you got hurt.
Don't worry, Twilight, Starlight says he moved over to the stand next to Nix and Spike.
I'll keep this safe, and we'll cast this burger red huff. Well, tell us where to start.
Okay, door's locked. Moved on to the central library.
Spike read the message from Twilight aloud as he left the castle ballroom behind. They worked their way down from the royal family's private quarters to the lowest level of the castle proper. They still hadn't found the intruder Nix had seen earlier, but they had found a few more signs. The door to the throne room had been left open, and more than once the trio was sure they heard the sounds of footsteps in the distance. As they continued on, Twilight let their defensive spells lock the doors behind them.
Room by room, corridor by corridor, they cleared to secure the castle. The burglar was thoroughly being headed to the main library. Once there, they would go ring by ring, descending multiple levels of the library within the castle's crystalline trunk. If the intruder tried to use magic to escape, Starlight would sense it with the detection spell he'd been maintaining for months at the search. In addition, the open space in the central library made it impossible for any fleeing Pegasus to avoid being spotted. The noose of their search was tightening, and they would soon have the burglar cornered, ready to be apprehended. The lights of the central library came on, just as the door's lockability audibly clicked behind them. They were now sealed in the library with their target, and the sweep began, with Starlight staying at the stairs, while keeping a close eye on her companions. Nyx and Spike circled the ring landing. They checked the aisles of books, looking down as they watched the castle, fancifully completing the loop and returning to where Starlight was waiting. Then, they take the stairs landing down and repeat the process. All the while there were noises. They heard the sound of hoofsteps, the single steps and quick gallops. They heard their target constantly trying to stay one step ahead, but the cavernous nature of the main library made it almost impossible to determine where the sounds were coming from. They could only continue their search. Starlight, Spike, and Nyx reached the middle of the landing in 7 in total, getting halfway down the palace's trunk. Starlight assumed their usual space staircase, watched as Nyx and Spike walked through the landing. Yet, when they were halfway around the circle, Nyx voiced her shout,
Hey! We found something!
"What is it?" Starlight asked, trying to crane her neck to see what was going on, while not abandoning her post at the stairs.
One of the display cases is open,
Nyx said. Starlight watched as Nyx and Spike disappeared down an aisle. Starlight could hear them jogging to the far wall. For a few minutes there was nothing. Starlight glanced around, shaking out a shiver that had crawled up her spine, before looking back to where she had last seen Nyx and Spike.
Well, which one is it?
Starlight's parallel timeline probability describer, Spike shot back. It's your chalkboard thing. It's gone.
The revelation was well enough to pull Starlight from her post. She quickly trotted to where Nyx and Spike were, worry written on her face as she arrived, and saw the depressant in the display case where the spell-light chalkboard had been. No, this can't be. Starlight cursed under her breath.
I told Twilight we should dismantle it.
Nyx's brow furrowed in frustration. She glanced between Spike and Starlight.
Can someone please tell me what you're talking about?
Spike opened his mouth to answer, but his words were cut off by the clatter of hooves. Somebody was running from the sounds of it, and they were going upstairs. Spike, Nyx, and Starlight all bolted, sprinting to the edge of the landing and pressing themselves up against the banister.
Up there!
Spike shouted as he pointed to someone, just an old black that was running up the steps.
Hey! Stop!
Starlight shouted. The burglar actually paused.
Allow me to depart, or 7 mile, landing radius.
The bunny shouted back at them, sounding prim and proper, perhaps a bit snooty, and there was hesitance in her voice, causing her threat to sound hollow. Starlight opened her mouth to shout back, but the intruder already turned, and continued running up the stairs.
After her!
Starlight led the charge with Nyx and Spike following in her wake. Their heavy hoofballs echoed the interior library out like rolling thunder. Floor by floor, landing by landing, they pursued the mare until they had reached the doorway at the very top of the library. There, the intruder was struggling with their door handles, trying to get them to open, to no avail.
She's got the chalkboard!
Spike said, pointing to the gem-encrusted hunk of wood that had been left hanging on the floor. The mare, upon hearing his shout, quickly turned her attention away from the door, snatched the chalkboard up with her front forehoof.
Well, let's not play too hasty,
the intruder said clearly, properly pronounced every syllable.
Surely we could come to some sort of meaningful arrangement. I merely required a chalkboard for a brief time.
Sorry, but this isn't happening,
Starlight said, using her horn to glow. There was a moment's pause, a standoff as each side waited for the other to make the first move. Then the burglar acted. She leapt at them, reaching out a forehoof to strike Starlight's horn. A known way to briefly stop a unicorn from casting spells. Starlight tried to dodge brace herself, allowing to think of what she would do without her magic. The blow didn't connect. Instead, the burglar himself made a clinking noise against a small bubble that appeared in his path. The tiny shield spell was Nyx's. Starlight wasted no time in taking advantage of her opportunity. Her magic glanced out, levitating the mare up against the door. The chalkboard dropped, and Spike reflexively and leapt, arms outstretched to grasp its edge before it could slip between the bars of the banister.
Good work, both of you.
Starlight said with an approving nod, before she climbed the last few steps to face the burglar. It was pinned against the floor.
Now, let's see who we're dealing with.
She reached out with a huff, gripping the mask and goggles before ripping them off. From beneath the black fabric, the mare's true cut and main color came into view, summer orange and blonde respectively. Freckled face was exposed, and green eyes looked back at them in shame.
Applejack? Oh yeah, the one got away with too before you mellow kids.
Starlight and Spike and Nick's time using.
Yeah, that's why.
See him in with a low voice.
Why would you try to steal this?
Nick's winced. It was her mother's angry voice. Twilight had every reason to use it. After he captured Applejack, Starlight sent a note to Twilight. A few moments later, Twilight popped into existence beside them. When she saw the truth, her expression didn't hide her disappointment. She had Starlight release Applejack, and directed everyone into the throne room. The whole walk had been silent. Twilight didn't say anything, and Applejack didn't try to explain her reasons. Nix had glanced at Spike, hoping he might at least look at her, but he was keeping his eyes straight ahead as he carried the strange chalkboard. Once we were inside the throne room and the doors were shut, Twilight broke the silence with her question. There would be no beating around the bush, no kind words. Twilight asked the question simply and honestly. Applejack, why would you do this? Nix imagined that, like her, everyone else wanted Applejack to give the simple, honest answer.
I needed to say something.
Applejack said. Once this guy, she used her Manhattan voice, the one she learned while staying with her aunt and Uncle Lawrence. Now, she was back to her usual country twang.
You wanted to use the spell I made? Why wouldn't you just ask?
'Cause I heard you all talking when first I was trying to decide what you wanted to say. You were talking about the dangers of something like this. Of something that lets you see how things could have been. How it could drive some ponies crazy. Or ruin their lives. But dang it! I can't go on not knowing. Not after seeing all them different things and yet seeing the same thing every time.
What are you talking about?
Nix asked, frustrated he was apparently out of the loop on the situation. She had been patient, but she hadn't even asked questions about the chalkboard when they were bringing Applejack back to the throne room. But now, they were all talking about seeing things, and ponies going crazy. Starlight made this chalkboard, and it makes the map table show us things, Applejack said. It shows us other timelines, like the ones Twilight saw when she was trying to stop Starlight. We spent the afternoon looking at all these different things. We saw worlds where we were superheroes. We saw worlds where we had different jobs. We were different tribes. We saw ones where we were different species. Next, glanced between Starlight and Twilight.
That was amazing. Why didn't I get to see it?
You can see it in a bit, Nix. Twilight gave her a reassuring pat on the shoulder, before focusing back on Applejack. So there was something you wanted to know? Something you wanted to see? What could it possibly be that justifies everything you've done tonight? Applejack tried to fight back tears, but she stopped before throwing a hard forehoof to them, pointing the map on the table. I wanted to ask that horrible, hateful thing. Why, in all the worlds it showed us, my parents are always dead! Well, there's this fic called World Chaos where your parents are alive. The shout lingered, sinking into the table present like a cold ocean mist. Next, and Spike glanced at one another. Starlight and Twilight did the same, and all four looked back at Applejack. She tried to wipe away tears with her host, only for her fresh ones to escape her eyes. Twilight said in a huff, I don't want to hear it. Applejack cut Twilight off, her words sharp as razors. I'll get it. This is all supposed to be fun, but it started with that superhero timeline. I was some dork adventure, and I got like that because my parents died. My parents was rich. We were happy. But the death of my parents drove that Applejack into being some crime-fighting vigilante. Still, I was sure that in some of the other worlds, I'd see him alive. But no. Again and again, they weren't there. My family ran some weird company called Apple that didn't grow apples. My family defended the last saved acres of Equestria from strange diseases. Yet again and again, it was just us. I was wearing my hat, Big Mac had his yoke, Apple Bloom had her bow, all those different worlds with their strangeness, and we still wore those things, and we're still trying to remember them. Twilight made another attempt, taking a step towards her friend. Applejack backed up, shaking her head. No, it ain't right.
There has to be somewhere. There has to be somewhere where they live. There has to be a time when they get to live. There has to be a time when my sister knows more about the best our parents are feeling can ask for. A timeline where she is telling her friends she doesn't know that what Mom and Papa sounded like or how they acted. A place where Apple Bloom was more boast as a reminder as her mother.
You heard us talking. Nix took a step towards Applejack. Well, we heard a knock on the door. That was you. You were listening when Apple Bloom was talking about the baby pictures he brought.
Applejack didn't register what Nix had said. She kept going, caught up in the emotions inside her that couldn't be ignored.
I spent the whole walk back to Sweet Apple Acres just trying to understand why that's able.
She looked at a hoof, trying to dry her eyes again. Then I heard Apple Bloom talking. It ain't right.
It just ain't right that she had to ever grow up without knowing them.
Applejack shifted her gaze back to Twilight.
I know I should just ask you.
If we all went to one of your lectures, I'll be honest, I might have stormed out.
I've been told all my life by Granny Smith and other apples. They say, I can't think about what they'd do if they were here. That Mom and Pa will be proud of how Big Mac and I have been running the farm. Maybe I doubt that sometimes. But that isn't what this is about. I want everyone to hear their voices. I want that table to tell me why, in all these other worlds, they're never alive.
Applejack, I'm sure there could be timelines where your parents are alive. The table just didn't need to change that.
Starlight said, trying to explain, her eyes glancing across the floor as she were reading the details of her own spell for the nuances of the crystal.
When we make a request at the chalkboard, the table predicts what would need to change in Equestria for that different reality to be true. So unless the other reality depended on your parents being alive, it didn't change what happened to them.
Oh, I got another one. Remember Twilight the Terrible from Arcade Striker? That's another one.
Then please, do it once for me. Maybe once again when Apple Bloom can play here. That's it.
I promise I'll never do anything like this again. Please. I'll just...
Twilight took a few steps forward to place her hoof on Applejack's shoulder. I don't want to see you doubting yourself. I have no doubt that your parents, any parents, would be proud of all you accomplished for your family.
I know. And I promise I'll never try to go back behind your backs.
Applejack brought a hoof to her and ran it through her mane.
Just feels like I'm starting to forget them too. Big Mac is the only one who really grew up with them. I was darn young myself when we lost them.
Twilight looked back silently at Applejack. For 2 tense moments, then nodded her head stepped back. She levitated the enchanted chalkboard away from Spike, holding it in front of her.
What should I write, Starlight?
I don't know.
She glanced at the table as it started to react to the chalkboard's magic. Swirls of color emanating from its surface.
We could ask the table what it would be like if they were still alive, but who knows where we see them, and... Look, AJ, I understand what you want, but I'm worried you'll doubt yourself if the table shows you something. A version of Sweet Apple Acres that you think is somehow better. I want to give you what you want, but I'm afraid of the effects it would have on you.
Applejack's brow furrowed and her jaw tightened.
So you want me to see them, but you won't let me because you think they would have done a better job? No, I didn't say that.
Starlight glanced at the others.
Anybody is free to help out here.
I have an idea.
Nix kind of his nearest run, putting her head closer to Twilight's.
Ask what Applejack's parents would have said the day before they died if someone told them the future. A message they knew would be delivered right now. A message they could leave, knowing everything Applejack, Big Mac, and Apple Bloom had done since their deaths.
Starlight moved beside Nix and Twilight.
Where did you get an idea like that?
Parapoise number 61, Spike said, smiling. When the team receives messages from the past that help them defeat a supercharged villain.
I don't know about defeating a villain, but...
A slight smile came to form on Twilight's face as he wore her interpretation of what Nix had said. Soon the colors on the map table were beginning to focus. Applejack moved roughly to the edge of the crystalline surface. She made no effort to clear the tears from her eyes as her gaze became fixed on the swirling colors.
Let's give her some privacy,
Twilight said, as she carried the chalkboard under her wing.
Applejack? Yeah, Super Creep? Just come out when you're ready. We'll be seeing you in the room just down the hall. Tomorrow you can bring Apple Bloom, Big Mac, and Granny Smith. We'll do this once for each of them, okay? It's like it, Twilight. She glanced back to the smile, looking at Hope to try to dry her eyes. That'll be a lot to mine. Don't suppose we could get a copy of this somehow? Starlight frowned. I didn't really build a recording system into my spell.
Don't worry, I got it.
Spike trotted over to his throne. Getting some an emergency, take a layer of supplies when we kept there.
I can write down everything they say, Applejack. I'm pretty good at taking dictation.
I'll blame my grateful back, Applejack said, trembling lips managing a smile.
Hey, what are friends for?
Spike began to write as he got ready. The images on the map were starting to properly come into focus. A few voices started to echo across the room. Twilight, Starlight, Nyx left the room. The doors closing behind them as a strong, unfamiliar female voice began to escape before the room was sealed. Dear Applejack.
I'm sorry, but there's no way I could properly do Felicitate's voice.
I'm exhausted, Twilight said as she and Nyx carried the chalkboard back into the throne room. Applejack had come into the sitting room, looking like she had been crying a lot, but she was smiling. It was the smile of someone that had been relieved of a great burden, even if it was the one that they were aware they were carrying. At the moment, Spike was making a second copy of the message, just in case, before he headed back to bed. Starlight was escorting Applejack back downstairs, was left next to Twilight to return the chalkboard to the throne room. At least until tomorrow when Apple Bloom, Big Mac, and Granny Smith will be coming by for the agreed upon time with the table. Nyx moved alongside Twilight, keeping pace as they went around the table towards Twilight's throne. Still can't believe that she thought the only way was to steal the chalkboard. Twilight set the chalkboard on her throne, casting a barrier spell to protect it for the few hours until dawn. That's part of the reason the spell Starlight created is so dangerous. For some ponies, it's fun to see how things could be different in their lives. But for others, many have lost things in their lives earlier than they expected. Parents, siblings, friends, pets. They sometimes disappear before we're ready to say goodbye. I think I understand, Nyx said quietly. Twilight felt the filly press up against her leg, clinging a bit closer. You almost was spelled next to the execution. Twilight stopped where she was, as he knelt down to Nyx's level, looked her in the eye. I know. It must have been scary. Thinking back, if I hadn't been infected with that corrupt magic, I would have been terrified as well. She smiled and leaned forward to embrace Nyx tightly in her wings. But I had a guardian angel that day who swooped in and saved me. Nyx let out a small sniffle at Twilight's ear. But you might have not been in danger if it wasn't for me, she whispered as Twilight held her. Shh, it's okay. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had such an amazing daughter either. Nyx leaned back once more into Nyx's eyes, before giving her a peck on the forehead. Never blame yourself for what happened. When it really mattered, you did the right thing. But what if I didn't get to you in time? That's not the kind of what-if question you can't dwell on. Twilight said, you learn from your mistakes, and always try your best in the future. If you do that, no matter what happens, I'll always be proud of you, okay? Nyx nodded, rubbing her face against Twilight as he did. Okay. Twilight gave Nyx another right squeeze before letting go of her. Good. A good job helping Applejack. That idea of yours was just what she needed. I did just get it from one of Spike's comics. Nyx smiled at Twilight's praise. Flying knowledge you have, even if it's from a colorful, illustrated source, can be just as valuable as coming up with an idea yourself. Twilight said with a small chuckle. Nyx, however, was overwhelmed with a yawn. She used to have to rub her eye. Well, I think it's well past all our bedtimes. Aww. Twilight laughed to squeeze Nyx a bit tighter. Don't you awe me. You cannot be tired. I am, Nyx admitted, but we're not getting much sleep anyway. It's almost morning, and It's not fair you and your friends got to play with the chalkboard while I wasn't here. Oh, it's not fair, huh? Twilight glanced back at the chalkboard, her mind weighing the options for a moment, before her horn lit up. The protective spell around the chalkboard popped, and Twilight brought it over to Nyx. Okay, we each do a quick one, and only one. Then we go back to bed, okay? This is your bedtime story. Nyx clapped her hooves together and fluttered her wings, managed to hover and climb up into the mat table. So,
He goes first.
Well, since I'm allowed to say this, I say I go first. So I said, or you start writing something on the chalkboard. And I know just the thing. We're going to see what you would have been like as a foal.
You mean all those embarrassing photos that my friends showed me?
Yes, those exactly. In fact, so I sat down on the board, then popped out of existence as he teleported somewhere. As he reappeared a few moments later, carrying Nyx's camera. The same camera Nyx used to take so many pictures in the Crystal Empire.
You gonna take pictures?
Nyx asked with a whine. Yes, I am. And I'm going to start an alternate timeline baby book, too. Nyx crinkled her nose but resigned herself to her fate.
Okay, but when I want my question for the table to be, I want my question to be, what if you were married?
Married? Twilight almost dropped Nyx's camera as her mind tried to process what she had just heard. Where did this come from?
Harry's always saying you don't date.
Twilight's turned to groan. Rarity always says a lot of things. Nyx, you know that?
Yeah, but if we're gonna see me as a baby, I wanna see what it'd be like if you were married to Discord.
At that point, Pandora came up and proceeded to give me a high five. Only you people who read Next Generation fics like I do would get that reference.
Discord?
Twilight's voice sounded in a cave.
I just saw first up yesterday how my friends screamed when they were showing me baby pictures. I need something equally as embarrassing.
I swear, Flim and Flam rubbed off on you. Twilight said, but she's smiling all the same, as the table finally came into focus, showing a nursery in a crystalline case decorated in the colors of the night. She smiled to see a familiar bundle of black fur stir in the cradle. She began to lift the camera, trying to ensure it was a good angle to capture some quality pictures. Alright, but we're not taking pictures of that, deal?
I also want to see what it'd be like as a superhero.
Yes, okay, Twilight said, using her magic to ruffle Nyx's mane. Now just, I think your full self is just starting to wake up in.
Oh, you're so adorable!
Twilight clicked the button on the camera. The film inside, capturing the moment in the map table. The moment had started, and in truth, Nyx and Twilight remained in the room until dawn. Many different alternate timelines and worlds. They laughed and smiled at each other, seeing things both heartwarming and rib-tickling. It was all made possible by a gift from a newly made friend who asked a simple question. What if? Bonus, unused, improvised material from a fellow Nyx fan, considering that he had just getting closer to finishing one of his longest fic. Ahem. Nyx, in the universe where she was there for the events of Twilight having battles with Mirage in the alternate realities and the battle for the hearts of worlds, in the universe of my creation, a world where Nyx had been born. The little alicorn filly went up to the chalkboard and looked around. Seeing no one there, she sat back and said,
Hey, chalkboard? I'm kind of curious. I heard my mom went to this universe called Starfleet, and about a world called Fallout where she was split into two. I was wondering, well, what would happen if I was there? If, you know, I existed.
and the chalkboard began to show Nyx images, starting from when Starfleet had first arrived. And this timeline, with Super Nightmare Moon appeared, the first thing everybody said was, Nyx is right there! This, of course, stunned Nightmare Moon long enough for Twilight and the Heirs to proceed to kick not only the spirits' butt, but Titan's trio as well. However, the whole entire mind-ripping, reality-bending thing that turned them all anthro, as you saw in Starfleet, still happened. Me, personally, I'm going to continue on with these little segments with variances, because I'm quite curious, and I guess I want to try it. See you next chapter, guys.